Hello students. Today we are going to deal a topic from chapter 8, Modern Techniques of Controlling. In your previous class you might have studied the traditional methods of controlling, but in today's class we will see modern techniques of controlling. Controlling is important aspect of the organization to increase the profit or to have a proper management of the activities. Controlling is must. So there are modern techniques of controlling. Why we call why we call these techniques as modern controlling of techniques? As because they are of recent origin and are comparative various aspects of an organization can be controlled. So there are few modern techniques which we are going to discuss today. First one is return on investment. We also call it as ROI, ratio analysis, responsibility accounting, management audit, per time CPM, and last one is management information system. First one is return on investment. Now here, before starting with return on investment, suppose if I have 10,000 rupees and if I invest it, if I deposit it in the bank, I may get a rate of interest. That we can say it as return on my FD, what I have kept it with the bank. Maybe it is 4%, 5%, depending upon whether it is a nationalized bank or whether it is a cooperative society. Same way in the organization, when the money is invested in the firm gets some return on that particular investment. So it is a useful technique which provides the basic yardstick for measuring whether or not invested capital has been used effectively for generating reasonable amount of return. So there is a formula to calculate return on investment. So ROI is equals to net income divided by sales multiplied with sales divided by total investment. So here net income can be considered as net income before or after tax may be used for making comparison. Total investment includes both working as well as fixed capital investment. So your total investment may have investment in fixed assets and investment in working capital. Both the investments are considered here and the amount of sales. So ROI provides top management an effective means of control for measuring and comparing performance of an adverse manner. So this is one of the important management control technique where the invested funds are checked whether the invested capital is fetching a reasonable amount of return or no. And to find out the return on investment, there is a formula which is used by the management. This is the first technique of control. We call it as return on investment. Likewise, there is second technique called as ratio analysis. At the end of every year, management prepares certain financial statements, that is your trading account, profit and loss account, and balance sheet. Likewise, income statement is also used by the management, and by using these particular statements, financial statements, different ratios are calculated. So what do you mean by ratio analysis? It refers to analysis of financial statements through computation of ratios. The most commonly used ratios by the organization are, first one is liquidity ratio. Now every organization prepares certain financial statements. By using those statements, the management or the account section, they calculate different ratios. So we'll see first type of ratio is liquidity ratio. Now liquidity ratio means what? Here the capacity of the firm to generate cash, that is, they have certain assets in a liquid form, that is short term investments, working capital, working assets can be immediately converted calculated to determine short-term solvency of business. Analysis of current position of liquid funds determine the ability of the business to pay the amount due to its stakeholders. Where how best firm, if cash is needed on a short period, how best a firm can convert its liquid assets into real cash. That is what we call it as liquidity ratio. Second one is solvency ratio. Ratios which are calculated to determine the long term solvency of business are known as solvency ratios. Thus these ratios determine the ability of a business to serve its indebtedness, that is how best a firm can survive in a long term, and what assets, what is the long term solvency of the firm. To find out that, solvency ratios are calculated. The third important type of ratio is profitability ratios. These ratios are calculated to analyze the profitability position of a business. Such ratios involve analysis of profits in relation to sales or funds or capital employed. Now to know what percentage of profits every year the firm is earning. So profits can be measured by considering total sales, by considering total investments, or by considering the total capital employed. So these are the measures by which company calculates profitability ratios. The fourth type of a ratio is turnover ratios. Turnover ratios are calculated to determine the efficiency of operations based on effective utilization of resources. Higher turnover means better utilization of resources. Now, it might be debtor turnover, higher, it means that you are utilizing your resources effectively. So to find out these, whether your resources are adequately used in time, we calculate turnover ratio. So these are some of the ratios which are calculated and which form as one of the important base of controlling. The third important technique is responsibility accounting. Now it is a system of accounting in which different sections, divisions and departments of an organization are set up as responsibility centers. Means looking at the departments, they convert them into responsibility centers. So there are different types of responsibility centers. We'll see them one by one. First one is cost center. A cost or expense center is a segment of an organization in which managers are held responsible for the cost incurred in the center but not for the revenues. For example, suppose in the organization there is a if an organization is a manufacturing organization, the production department is converted as a cost center. So the manager of the production department is responsible wholly and solely for the cost which is incurred in that particular department. So the such that is why I said one section, one department can be converted as one of the responsibility center, and the head of that particular section or department will be given the full charge of that particular center or that particular segment. So first one is cost center. Likewise, we have revenue center. A revenue center is a segment of an organization which is primarily as revenue center. So here the example, we will take the example only. Suppose the marketing manager is given the is made as a revenue center in charge or revenue center head. So he is responsible to increase the revenue or at least maintain the revenue consistently. Third one is profit center. A profit center is a segment of an organization whose manager is responsible for both revenues and cost. Now how we calculate profit? Profit is equals to your total sales minus your total cost, you will get the profit. So here the head of this particular segment or center is responsible not only for cost but also for the revenue. The next important management tool, fourth center is responsibility center is investment center. An investment center is responsible not only for profits but also for investment made in the center in the firm in the form of assets. The investment made in each center is separately ascertained and return on investment is used as a basis for judging the performance of the center. Now, the manager of investment center is responsible for both how best he has utilized the funds by purchasing the assets, and he is also responsible for showing like how best that particular investment is fetching returns. Next, fourth important technique of control, modern technique of control is management audit. It refers to systematic appraisal of the overall performance of the management of an organization. Management of audit, we also that is it what it does, it evaluates, evaluation is done of all the functions, performances and effectiveness of management of an organization. The purpose is to review the efficiency and effectiveness of management and to improve its performance in future periods. It is helpful in identifying the deficiencies in the performance of management functioning. Now, management audit, what it does, it evaluates all the functions of the management, it checks their performance and it finds out whether each function performed by each person who is involved in the management effectively and efficiently, that everything is done by under management audit. So there are certain advantages of management audit. We'll see one by one. First one is it helps to locate present and potential deficiencies in the performance of management functions. So with the help of management audit, we will get to know our present strengths as well as our future weaknesses. So the future deficiencies or weaknesses can be very well managed, controlled and we can say molded. Weaknesses can be molded into our future strengths. It helps to improve the control system of an organization by continuously monitoring the performance of management. It improves coordination in the functioning of various departments so that they work together effectively towards the achievement of organizational objectives. Now, there are different departments in the organization and coordination is must among all the departments. No doubt, ensures updating of existing managerial policies and strategies in the light of environmental changes. So, my management audit helps and ensures updates management policies, implements them in the organization, and as well as adapts certain environmental changes. The next important management tool is PERT and CPM. PERT is Program Evaluation and Review Technique and CPM is Critical Path Method. These two techniques, or we call them as networking techniques, which are useful in planning and controlling. These techniques are especially useful for planning, scheduling and implementing time-bound projects involving performance of a variety of complex, diverse and interrelated activities. These techniques deal with time scheduling, resource allocation for these activities and aims at effective execution of projects within given time, schedule and structure of cost. Now, where PERT and CPM can be used? Now, PERT and CPM are used extensively in areas like shipbuilding, construction projects, aircraft manufacture, etc. Now, where your projects are big, your projects are time bound, your projects involves too much of outlays, that is too much of cost, at that time PERT and CPM becomes necessary. We'll see the steps involved in using PERT and CPM. The project is divided into number of clearly identifiable activities which are then arranged in a logical sequence. Now, big project, construction of a building, suppose I am giving you an example here, construction of a building. Now, construction of a building involves right? So each activity is divided, each activity is put in a logical sequence. A network diagram is prepared to show the sequence of activities, the starting point, termination point of the project. So in network is drawn after finding out all the activities, after giving time period for each and every activity, the network is drawn. Time estimates are prepared for each activity. Suppose foundation few days, then construction of pillars few days, then your slab few days. So for each activity the time is allotted. Now after laying down the time, the longest path in the network is identified as the critical path. Now after all activities, they will identify few activities or one or two activities are very crucial activities, means the activity which is very difficult, if that activity doesn't get completed, all other activities will also harm your entire time for the project. If required, the path is modified so that execution and timely completion of project is under control. Now suppose we are constructing a building, so we may say construction of slab, putting up the slab is difficult, so we may say this is a critical activity without which we cannot look for interior also. Yes, side by side we can construct compound, side by side we can do other activities, but construction of slab is very important, and we may say that it is a critical activity which requires maximum time, and without which other activities cannot be done. So like that, there are different examples, craft manufacturing, etc. So per 10 cpm are modern techniques used in the controlling process, where management thinks that this particular activity, where the projects are time bound and the cost is involved, we use per 10 cpm. So there are different modern types of modern techniques of controlling used by the management.